back at Bir, how are your memories of the place, of all these years?
It's I need to exert a little bit too, because it changed a lot. I think we were talking about it, and when I came, it was a very small village, and the Tibetan colony was much less developed as such. There were only one guest house, about 90 rupees a room, and there were a couple of few shops just showing videos, like video halls. Within Tibetan community, youngsters didn't have much job. There was a different feel to the situation as at that time. And there were a couple of taxis only in the taxi stand. So it was more open. You could see sky much more when walking on the street, and then you can see now much more buildings have come up. So whole field was a village with almost nothing to do except that you go flying.
Bir Billing is, for me, it's like a second home. I've seen it change from a small Tibetan refugee village to an international World Cup site. So yeah, it's been good to watch. I mean, of course, there's always positive and negative things, you know. And anywhere in this day and age, anywhere that's beautiful and good, at some point is going to get busier and busier because everyone wants to go there. So.
You know, it's like paradise, really. The climate's so wonderful. I mean, I suppose it's somewhat inoculated from the rest of India in that everyone's pretty prosperous around here as well. Everyone seems happy. They can grow crops easily. The people are wonderful. There's this amazing mountains right here, yet you can live in great comfort down here in the valley. And obviously the paragliding's fantastic. So I think that was the key thing for me.
We knew straight away, both of us, our hearts are in India, not in Nepal, definitely. For me, it was first time. For me, it was first time, but I still got this feeling, and for Mike, anyway, it was clear. It was clear beer.
Why so much?
It's flying-wise and people-wise, the area. I don't know. First time I came here, I fell in love with the place, and I'm still.
In Austria, it's like, wow, everything, timings, you have appointments, this and that. And India, and especially up here in the mountains, it's like, you just do.
Yeah. In Europe, they have money but no time. Here, they have not so much money, but a lot of
Lots of time.
I think Peru is a meeting point where people are totally interconnected. And the reason they're interconnected is because they come from all over the world, but they have the same purpose and the same projection. They have been projecting this idea about flying. So here is the perfect place for flying. I think when we go home to our own places, we are connecting the world together. And this is the best way to connect the world. It's not through big cities, through multimedia, through television or the internet. It's through people meeting like this, talking together, getting to know each other, share experiences, and then go home and tell everybody else, well, I was here, it was amazing. It was an amazing place, you know. And this is what Twitter is about. It's about this, and there's other places like this in the world, but this is one of them. It's a beautiful place. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It is a special place. Cheers.
Of course, we wouldn't have met otherwise.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
क्रेज कहाँ से आया? देख देख के लोगों को यहाँ पे
बचपन से आप देखें लोगों को, कहीं कोई लैंड हो जाता था तो भाग के जाते थे वहाँ, टच करना मिल जाए बस ग्लाइडर टच करने।
इतना ज्यादा वो
स्कूल से ही जाते थे भागते हुए देखने।
छोटे छोटे बच्चे थे, दिखते थे लोगों को उड़ते हुए बिलिंग से, इच्छा होती थी मन में कि यार हम भी उड़ेंगे, कब उड़ेंगे।
मन करता है कि कुछ नया है तो टच करूं, देखूं। तो अब फॉरेनर थे उस टाइम पे, मतलब थोड़ा अलग था।
टच करने देते थे लोग?
नहीं, फॉरेनर कोई दे देते थे, पर कई फॉरेनर मना कर देते थे, डोंट टच माय ग्लाइडर। ओके।
उनको देख देख के एक टाइम इतना क्रेज बढ़ गया कि नहीं, एक टाइम खुद ही करेंगे और खुद ही चलाएंगे।
बहुत ऑब्जेक्शन हुआ घर में, क्योंकि दैट टाइम ना पैराग्लाइडिंग को आप
कुछ भी नहीं था यहाँ पे, नथिंग, जीरो।
वैसे सोचते थे कि हाँ पैराग्लाइडिंग तो बस मरना ही है, तो फिर उस मेंटलिटी को चेंज करके, मतलब वैसे बहुत ऑब्जेक्शन हुआ और हमने शायद सुनी भी नहीं उस टाइम, यंग एज में थे दैट बात।
और अच्छा भी किया नहीं सुना।
और आज थोड़ा महसूस भी होता है कि थोड़ा ठीक किया। यहाँ गांव का मैं नहीं सोचता हूँ कि एक भी आदमी होगा जैसे कि जिस तरह हम ट्रेनिंग ले रहे थे तो उड़ाया नहीं होगा, चाहे वो कारपेंटर रहा होगा, चाहे वो कंस्ट्रक्शन मिस्त्री रहा होगा, व्हाटएवर, मतलब जो भी, पर सब उड़े हैं, टैक्सी ड्राइवर से लेके, फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट।
90% तो हमने सबको उड़ाया।
तो ग्लाइडर कहाँ से मिलते थे सीखने के लिए?
तो पता नहीं कहाँ से ढूंढना पड़ते थे। बड़ा स्ट्रगल करना पड़ता था ग्लाइडर ढूंढने के लिए। किसी के पास फटा पुराना भी होगा वो भी चलेगा, जो खत्म हो गया वो भी चलेगा,
एक दूसरे से मांग के।
अभी क्या है व्हाट इज पैराग्लाइडिंग?
अभी मतलब अभी मैं है ना, यू कांट डिफाइन ना, क्योंकि दिन प्रतिदिन ना थोड़ा स्लेब्स वाइड होता जा रहा है ना। हाँ, वो है ना, मतलब कि जिंदगी ताउम्र एक सवाल देती है और आपको ताउम्र लग जाता है उस सवाल को ढूंढने के लिए, और जैसे ही आपको जवाब मिल जाए तो फिर जिंदगी सवाल बदल देती है, लाइक दैट ना।
I think I enjoyed pretty much, but yesterday the situation was a little bit tricky with the clouds. Maybe the decision to stop the task was made too late.
The cylinder is not too far away from the main ridge. After that, we're going to B23, which is Dharamsala. We have a 2.5k cylinder on that. From there, the end of speed section is a 12.5k cylinder on B46, and from there it's into Goli. Total distance is 99.7 on a Flymaster. It might vary on different instruments. Just a couple of things before I hand over to
यहाँ क्या था, ये कुछ भी नहीं था, मगर ये था कि हैंग ग्लाइडिंग वाले जब आते थे ना, तो उनका हैंग ग्लाइडिंग उठा के लाते थे हम नीचे से। तो मैंने दुकान खोली, टेंट लगा लिया, तुम 3 आदमी के लिए चाय पानी देते रहते था। बस वैसे करके 1984 में फिर हैंग ग्लाइडिंग का वर्ल्ड कप हो गया।
Hang gliding was more like 80s, 85 to 90. 89 there was a pre-World Cup for hang gliding, and then people came with paragliders, and they, I think, quickly realized that this place is more suitable for paragliders than hang gliders. So from there onward it evolved quite quickly towards paragliding.
हैंग ग्लाइडिंग बंद हो गया तो उसके बाद ब्रूस माइल ने ये पैराग्लाइडिंग ले आई।
Did you know Bruce?
Everybody spoke about it.
In fact, that's Bruce's motorbike.
Yeah, that's Bruce's motorbike.
And we've got his house.
Yeah, we've got his house as well.
Why would you say?
Because he was so fast on a motorbike and things like that. He liked life on the wire. You know,
How was he on a paraglider?
he was erratic. Good, but erratic.
Yeah, fits of genius, moments of genius, but kind of some scary things too.
Let's talk about Bruce Mills to start with. Bruce Mills was from New Zealand, and he came to this area in the early 80s, I think. And he was a very good skier and mountain biker, and started paragliding in the early days. And he was probably the first person to fly a paraglider in the Manali Valley. And he had a very old paraglider. It was actually a skydiving chute with a climbing harness. When he left here, Roshan Lal, the first guy who used to fly here, he was quite keen. So Bruce sold him his glider, but he didn't have time to teach him, so he made him some drawings of how to use it. That's where it all started from. So Roshan Lal, who was actually quite brave, learned to use this thing and started flying around here, and then I learned from him, and he taught the other boys, and then
Bruce is a paragliding legend. Bruce basically started paragliding in the West Himalaya in this area. Basically, everybody owes it to Bruce.
वो तो हमारे लिए भगवान ही है, क्योंकि अगर वो नहीं होता तो इंडिया में मेरे को नहीं लगता अभी तक ये चीज़ होती। और उन्होंने सिखाया फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, हर जो जितना नॉलेज था हर चीज़।
जैसे हम कुछ गलत कर रहे हैं फ्लाइंग में, वो खुद आके टीच करते थे। ग्लाइडर तक गिफ्ट किया हुआ था हम लोकल्स के लिए। जो अभी न्यू जनरेशन कह रहे हैं, सब लोगों ने मुझे लगता है एक दो बार तो टच किया ही होगा वहाँ ग्राउंड में।
He started living in Bir, and until he died, he had a house in Bir and spent most of his time there. Started importing equipment and helping the locals buy equipment and stuff, and teaching, and so yeah, we used to call him Guru Bruce.
उनके नाम पे वो पीक का नाम पड़ा हुआ, मिल्स पीक।
Bir has been pretty crucial because it's such an amazing place to fly. When we started, we were very cautious. I mean, the first year we didn't even go to the next ridge. We just used to fly in Bir, top land, drink tea, fly, top land, drink tea. The more we explored it, the more we realized the potential of the place. Maybe there's somewhere else that's as good or better, but it hasn't been discovered yet. Just the infrastructure, the road to the top, the takeoff, and now the improved landing and everything. So yeah, it's played quite a big role in the development of paragliding in India.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a go.
Bir is very special in that, well, it's on the Dhauladar, which is one of the most dramatic Himalayan ranges there is. It rises, from a valley floor, I think, over towards Dharamsala, around 1,000 meters, goes right the way up to 5,000 meters.
Dhauladar it's almost like God designed it for gliding. It's perfectly placed, right longitude, latitude, right amount of altitude of the terrain.
Well, in terms of flying, it's probably the best range in the Himalaya, and this is due to the fact that it's the first range.
So this is one of the biggest kind of vertical walls in the world.
Which is facing south-southwest. With big flat open areas in front of it. So very safe for landing out.
So as the sun comes up, heats it up nicely. And that generates perfect, easy, nice thermals.
The spurs coming out of it are very predictable. The thermals are always in the same places, usually.
We have prevailing westerly winds all the time and very light. So normal prevailing wind is 2 or 3 meters per second only.
And it's fairly stable, so it means that these big mountains don't go bang. By that I mean they don't overdevelop too much thermic activity.
The only time we get high winds is if there's a storm approaching or a big cloud developing or something like that. And that too is like hour or two.
So you've got quite a good, safe period, relatively.
From this big ridge, you've got spurs running down. Perfectly spaced to be one easy glide on a paraglider, so you can just go from ridge to ridge. Use the thermals, turn around and come back.
Assume I'm a pilot from somewhere else and I come here to fly. The beauty of this place is that it's not really a true valley. It's a big mountain. It's almost like 4,500 meter mountain on that side. And it jets out right out of flat land almost. So air comes smoothly beneath this big mountain. So it's not the wind that is a major factor. It's just that it's a big south-facing slope, getting a lot of sun. We are in the northern hemisphere, so south slope gets more sun. That warms up the slope and the air goes up. If you see the clouds, tells you the story. You have clouds all along Ladakh. And that is like a corridor to us. It's left.
The air go up on the slope and bring you up. So you can go up the slope with this dynamic air coming from the wind. Or you have the sun hit the floor and the floor hit the air, then you have a bubble like a balloon. And the balloon at the moment it just goes up in the sky because it's more hot, so it just flips. And you go inside of this balloon. It's what we call thermaling, and we go inside of this balloon with the balloon.
Vultures you see don't flap their wings, and they still gain height by going around in circles, and they are gaining height by staying in a lefty zone, and that's exactly what we do.
And when we are high enough, or when the balloon don't want to go anymore, then we can start to fly away.
By gliding, we're gaining distance but losing height. So height is our fuel. So as we feel that, okay, fuel is running out, then we need for another thermic air to gain more distance. So that's how we fly.
Flying is an activity that is linked to the nature of human. You do not have to be especially clever. You have this in every story, everywhere, since the beginning of humanity. And fictions, what we are doing now, it's just a dream come true. I think that every single pilot, especially paragliding pilots, are enjoying the benefit of that sentence, dream come true. You take a few-day course or even try by yourself, and then in a matter of days, 1 week, you are able to fly at least something. Air sports are around for more than a century, but it was difficult to achieve this kind of freedom. I made many comments on the Beer World Cup. The room for improvement is quite big. The focus is not really on the sport itself, so that's not the point.
साउथ एशिया और भारत में पहली बार हुआ और वो भी यहाँ हिमाचल में भीड़ में, जिसके लिए हम लोग सब सौभाग्यशाली हैं.
When I see the potential, when I see the commitment, when I see all this setup and everything, and when I think what the ordinary pilot, one pilot is getting out of all this, I'm not satisfied with the balance of things. I'm very thankful for hosting the World Cup with such a glory, but also part of that glory should go to the individual participant. That's the point, because they are making the event, they are the product, the pilots themselves. So it's not just what nature gave to you, but it's also what you are doing with that.
एक्चुअली हमें ना ग्लाइडिंग का एक ही फेज मालूम था, सोलो
उड़ना है बस,
कि लोग ऊपर से उड़ते हैं, बस उड़ते हैं.
मुझे नहीं लगता कि हम चारों में से किसी के दिमाग में ऐसा
टेंडम होगा,
आना और पैसे कमाने. ट्रेनिंग करते करते अब कोई आ गया इच्छुक किया उड़ना है, तो हम लोगों को भी उड़ने का शौक है, तो खर्चे भी पूरे करने हैं, कहाँ से करने, तो कोई मिल गया तो उड़ा लिया बस.
Are you excited?
Yeah. I'm just scared about the running part. I don't mind flying.
टेंडम मैंने 2000 में शुरू किया था जी. ब्रूस लेके आया था हमारे लिए 2 टेंडम. उस टाइम पे रेट भी अच्छे मिलते थे. जैसे ब्रूस ने बोला कि हाँ 1 घंटा फ्लाई करना तो करना ही करना है, मतलब ही नहीं बनता नहीं करना.
It was always a little bit mellow here in beer, because they said not too much tourists are coming here, so business will be not so good. So they more focused on Manali to fly a proper tandem. So here it was more step by step, slowly.
Okay.
Rising with the local pilots, that they get professional, and now they have really good standard.
और फिर धीरे-धीरे गांव में कैसे लोग?
हाँ, जैसे ही मैंने शुरू किया, फिर साल 1-1.5 साल के बाद ज्योति ने शुरू कर दिया. फिर ऐसे ही वो चीज़ बढ़ती चली गई, क्रेज बढ़ता चला गया. फिर जैसे टेंडम शुरू हुआ तो एक इनकम का सोर्स बन गया, तो बच्चे जो अनएम्प्लॉयड हैं वो जुड़ने शुरू हो गए. तो अब तो 100 के आसपास हो गए. चलो बिजनेस बढ़ रहा है, अच्छी बात है बच्चों के लिए, और यहाँ पे कोई सोर्सेज तो है ही नहीं।
लॉन्च जब करता है पायलट तो हल्का सा आपको ऐसा फील आएगा कि आप एयरबोर्न हो, पर इन दैट कंडीशन आप हवा में नहीं होते हो, मगर आप हवा में नहीं होते हो। और ऐसी कंडीशन में बहुत से लोग 90% ऐसे लोग हैं जो बैठ जाते हैं। आपने बैठना नहीं है, सुनते जरूर हैं मगर फॉलो कम नहीं करते। लैंडिंग के टाइम लीन फॉरवर्ड, टेक ऑफ, लीन फॉरवर्ड, थोड़ा सा लंबे से स्टेप, थोड़ा सा हार्ड वॉक करना है, भागना बहुत तेज नहीं है।
लोगों को मतलब इसके बारे में पूरी तरह से पता नहीं है। अब कुछ लोग पैरासेलिंग बोलते हैं इसको, कुछ हैंड ग्लाइडिंग बोलते हैं। अब प्रॉपर तरीके से बंदे को पता होना कि हाँ कैसे होती है, सेफ है, ऐसा कुछ मतलब बंदे को पहले से पता बताया गया हो ना तो बंदा कभी नहीं डरेगा। ऐसे पहुंचा दिए ट्रैवल एजेंट पीछे से, हाँ जी पैराग्लाइडिंग होता है, ठीक है चलो। अब पता नहीं है कि कैसे होगा, उनको तो लगता है कि बस पहाड़ में जाएंगे और कूदना ही है जाके सीधा।
उनको पता ही नहीं होता है एक्चुअली करना क्या है। फिर ऊपर चल के ब्रीफिंग थोड़ा समझा के थोड़ा सा चलना है, बस ग्लाइडर उठा लेगा ऐसा।
बीड़ में कितने टैंडम पायलट्स होंगे?
बीड़ के कम से कम 70 पायलट हैं यहाँ पे, टैंडम पायलट। तो 70 में अप्रोक्सीमेटली मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि 25-30 ऐसे पायलट है जो अच्छे पायलट बोल सकते हैं उनको। तो बाकी तो आप खुद ही देख रहे हैं यहाँ पे 4 दिन सोलो किया, 5 दिन के बाद टैंडम फ्लाइट कर रहे हैं।
I think what's going on in Himachal the whole paragliding scene is a tandem scene. People just want to learn to fly, to do tandems and make money. So there's not much passion in that, and I think that's wrong. And that's why it's at the point it's at with the tandems, which is quite a mess. There's no regulations, there's no license, there's any old person is just picking up a tandem, and half of these tandem pilots, if you ask them to fly solo, they'll refuse. They're scared. They're like, नहीं, डर लगती है solo नहीं, only on tandem. Which is ridiculous. You know, people should be flying, should know how to fly before you take someone else's life in your hands. Say out of all the tandem pilots, there's maybe 20% that are passionate. The rest is just a business. It's like driving a taxi for them.
बस ये सिंपल लैंग्वेज में गोरख धंधा ये। कुछ लोगों को लेना देना ही नहीं है कुछ भी पैराग्लाइडिंग से, उसको सिर्फ पैसे कमाने, और उसके चक्कर में जो अच्छे वाले पायलट हैं उनका फ्यूचर खराब हो रहा है।
जो भी सीख रहा है वो सिर्फ पैसे के लिए या अपना इनकम के लिए, बाकी वो चीज़ नहीं कि हाँ मैंने वर्ल्ड में, या वो चीज़ है, इच्छा तो सबकी होती है पर उतना नहीं कर पाते क्योंकि ग्लाइडर इतने कॉस्टली हैं। तो टैंडम खरीदेगा इनकम के लिए या सोलो खरीदेगा प्रैक्टिस के लिए, ये चीज़ बहुत मैटर करता है। फिर जैसे स्टैंडर्ड बढ़ता है तो ग्लाइडर तो चेंज करना ही पड़ता है, तो हर 2 साल के बाद ग्लाइडर अगर चेंज करना पड़े तो
एक दिन कैसा जाता है?
बड़े टायर्ड डे होते हैं वो समर के। नीचे तो बस सीधा उतरो, पैक करो, भागो, उतरो, पैक करो, भागो, 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 भागो।
खाने का टाइम नहीं।
रुकना नहीं है बस, चलना ही है बस।
At one point, you had mentioned that tandem is actually killing the sport.
Business always does. It's not the tandem, it's the tandem business. Just flying tandem as a sport won't be a problem. But thing is that right now, tandem flying is seen as the sole representative of the sport. They see only tandem flying and they see it as a business. Government sees it as a business. All the rules formed by particularly the HP Aerosports rules and the rules they're governing us here with, they're all focused controlling the business, the tandem business of paragliding. And the focus is so much there that it's killing the sport.
इवन हमारी गवर्नमेंट को ही पता नहीं है पैराग्लाइडिंग के बारे में कि पैराग्लाइडिंग क्या है। लिख दिया, छाप दिया, हाँ वर्ल्ड कप हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, पर पता ही नहीं है।
I think they need to set up a body that regulates it. You know, if they make a licensing system, they should make it hard enough that only the people who are really passionate and want to really put that effort in will be able to do it.
पायलट लोग ही अपना ही खुद का कुछ सिस्टम बनाए तब अच्छा रहेगा, अदरवाइज क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत ही गलत सिस्टम हो रहा है, तो ये पैराग्लाइडिंग के लिए अच्छा नहीं है आने वाले टाइम पे।
जब तक सोच नहीं बदलेगी तब तक सिस्टम नहीं बदलेगा।
We are very young when it comes to adventure sport. I would say we are just about flirting with the idea. Nobody has real concept of what adventure sports are all about. Facebook has fed the wrong kind of image. Actually, it's all about getting your pictures and posting them and appearing cool. People, when they realize what it does to you, how you change as a person when you do adventure sport, when you do it, not when you do tandem ride, when you learn paragliding yourself. And I think this is what makes me happy is when I teach somebody paragliding, it's not just that I teach them paragliding, I also see them changing. I see them changing as a person, their values, them starting to think about what they've been doing and what they need to do for their own happiness and growth. They change a lot when they're doing this kind of activities. So when people start accepting that or seeing that growth in human when they do adventure sports and what it fulfills in human, then we will start understanding the adventure sport as such. Right now we just see the glamour of it.
Actually, when we started, I think both of us, we always said we don't want to make money in that because we don't want to lose the joy, you know. But then we found out it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it, you know. And it's actually we got this joy.
Tandem, it's a good solution for make discover to the people. It's nice. People can fly and they can discover it. And here in India, because the conditions are hard and because the first group that was here were good flyers, the people have learned in the right way with a lot of respect.
कुछ जो बच्चे अच्छे निकल रहे हैं तो उसके लिए कुछ ना कुछ सपोर्ट मिलनी चाहिए गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से या कोई भी, क्योंकि यहाँ से लड़के अच्छे निकल सकते हैं बिलिंग से।
कमियां कुछ भी नहीं है, कमियां फाइनेंस कमी है, सबसे बड़ी बात है। यहाँ के लड़कों में इतना अच्छा टैलेंट है, कोई भी हो चाहे जूनियर हो सीनियर हो, ऑलमोस्ट उनके पास इतना अच्छा टैलेंट है, अच्छी क्रॉस कंट्री करते हैं, बट प्रॉब्लम आती है फाइनेंशियल की, क्योंकि फाइनेंशियल इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं है, क्योंकि पैसे भी चाहिए, अब गेम महंगी है। मैं अपने हिसाब से बता रहा हूँ, जब अभी मैंने सोलो लिया है तो वो पड़ा मेरे को 1,35,000, ठीक है। उसके ऊपर हार्नेस का मैंने ₹1,00,000 अलग से दिया, यानी बोलने का मतलब है 3.5-4 लाख तक जो है कंप्लीट आपकी किट मिलेगी। बट वो इन्वेस्ट के लिए पैसा कमाना पड़ेगा पहले। तो पैराग्लाइडिंग और टैंडम एक ऐसी चीज़ है जिसमें हम जल्दी अर्न कर गए। 500 का फ्लाई किया और नीचे आ गए, लेकिन अच्छी प्राइस होगी। अगर अच्छी फ्लाइट करते हैं तो फ्लाइट का भी अच्छा ले सकते हैं, और साथ में जो पायलट को सैलरी है जो भी है वो भी अच्छी दे सकते हैं। लेकिन अब
And also, I mean, if they get some backup sponsors and stuff, which makes life easier. I mean, if you get sponsors who pay you a flight ticket to go and do 3 comps in Europe, they will learn lots. So it's all dependent on that, really.
लाल चिड़िए सेरी बे जाना, सेरी बे जाना, सेरी बे जाना। सेरी पकीरा गेहूरा दाना, गेहूरा दाना, गेहूरा दाना। लाल चिड़िए सेरी बे जाना, सेरी बे जाना, सेरी बे जाना।
पर जो हमारे जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है ना, जो सीख रहे हैं और मे बी डेडिकेटेड होंगे स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में, वो डेफिनेटली बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे वर्ल्ड लेवल में। क्योंकि अब अवेयर हो गया ना लोग पैराग्लाइडिंग के लिए। पहले घर से लोगों को रोका जाता था या बच्चों को रोका जाता था कि ये स्पोर्ट्स नहीं करना है, अब खुद ही करते हैं। हाँ ठीक है, मन है तो कर। तो ये चीज़ ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है ना।
नो नो
पिक्चर में मेरे डैड जी पहले फ्लाइंग करते थे, वो लेकिन सोलो फ्लाई करते थे। फिर उन्होंने मेरे को पैराग्लाइडिंग की लाइन में मतलब ज्वाइन करवाया। इंटरेस्ट उनके कारण है आज मेरा।
गलती तू प्लॉट को पानी तेरा
बड़का होना लिमिट था सो ये ना ग्लाइडर लाके। पहली बार मेरे को मेरे पापा ग्राउंड में लेके आया ना, उस टाइम मैं शायद 8th में पढ़ता था। तो जब मैंने पहली बार हार्नेस लगाया तो मैं बहुत रोया। मैंने कहा नहीं नहीं मेरे को नहीं करना ही। उसके बाद फिर धीरे धीरे मैं रोज़ आता गया। फिर मेरे को मज़ा आने लगा फ्लाइंग में। तो धीरे धीरे फिर इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता गया। फिर रोज़ आ जाना यहाँ पे। भाइयों ने क्रिकेट खेलना, मैंने यहाँ ग्राउंड में आ जाना। दिन भर लोगों की पैकिंग करनी और बस ऐसे ही थोड़ा बहुत नॉलेज लेना, उनसे पूछना।
तो अभी सोलो करना शुरू कर दिया तुमने?
हाँ, अब सोलो मैंने ले लिया अपना पर्सनल, तो मैं सोलो फ्लाइंग कर रहा हूँ। जब मेरा मूड हो तब मैं टैंडम फ्लाइंग नहीं करता हूँ, बस सोलो के लिए चला जाता हूँ। ये मेरे को शौक है पैराग्लाइडिंग वर्ल्ड कप फाइट करने का। मैं कंपटीशन फाइट बनना चाहता हूँ।
टैंडम नहीं करना हमेशा के लिए?
नहीं।
क्यों?
मज़ा है कंपटीशन फाइट करने में, अपनी कंट्री को रिप्रेजेंट करना है, सभी के साथ फ्लाइंग करना है।
जुड़ा है गेम से तो कुछ ना कुछ तो करना ही है। धीरे धीरे करते रहो। तो मैंने उसको बोला है जल्दबाजी की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, गेम को आराम से खेलो, प्यार से। जिंदगी है, चलता है सब कुछ। जीत हार भी चलता है, सब कुछ एक्सपीरियंस होता है ना सब काम में। कंपटीशन करेंगे तो थोड़ा और एक्सपीरियंस आएगा। खुद अपनी इतनी अच्छी रेंज है फ्लाइंग के लिए, जितनी प्रैक्टिस करते रहेंगे उतने धीरे धीरे ही बूंद बूंद गिर के ही सागर बनता है। तो
तो आप लोग अभी भी इतना एंजॉय करते हो फ्लाइंग को जितना पहले स्टार्टिंग में?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, तभी जुड़े हुए हैं।
मजा नहीं आता तो कौन करता है?
आप बताइए।
क्योंकि शायद हम सोचते हैं ना कि इस प्रोफेशन के अलावा हमसे और बाकी प्रोफेशन नहीं होना था। बहुत मुश्किल लग रहा है।
क्लाउड देखो पर नीले रंग है।
ये नहीं करते तो हम शायद किसान होते।
पर मतलब मेरे लिए सबसे अच्छी बात है कि मतलब मैं यहाँ पे पैदा हुआ, मैंने पैराग्लाइडिंग सीखी। इससे अच्छा मेरी लाइफ में और कुछ नहीं हो सकता था। अच्छा वो सरकारी नौकरी लगा, फौजी फाजी नहीं भर्ती हुआ, नहीं तो सलूट ही मारता रहता।
So yeah, it's the Doladar, an amazing range to fly. We've pushed the distance of it each year more and more.
People come here to learn cross-country flying. The people come here to do their cross-country distances. The whole race about the best distance in India is around this place only.
You can surf the upper of this ridge line.
It's not everywhere you can do 200K that easily, I would say. The Doladar, it's kind of out and returns or flat triangles, we call them. So you go as far past Dharamsala as you dare. Then you come back and then you fly as far towards Mandi as you dare. And then fly back to Beers.
So how far do you go today? Tell us.
As far as possible. We try to hit more 100 kilometers.
Where will you go towards Dharamshala?
Hopefully, yeah, Dharamshala and direction Monday, 60 turn point and back.
If you're going for a record, you're trying to fly as far as possible. So you're trying to fly as fast as possible, because the faster you fly, the more distance you'll cover in the day. Because we only have a certain amount of time in a day where the thermals are working, and you can actually, fly distance.
What's up?
Where did you go today?
5 hours.
What?
5 hours.
5. You went to Manali?
No.
Dharamshala?
No.
360?
Oh yes, 360. 360 and a big flight today.
After lots of people flying cross country, I was like, 200K has got to be possible. So in 2009, I was the first person to fly 200 kilometers there, which that record actually lasted for a few years till Kubo and Andre turned up.
Vultures are perfect, very nice, but they are, I don't know. From time to time they are more stupid as I am, I think. For me, they are just docent, if you know with a degree in university. It's a PhD philosophy doctor, then is coming docent, and then is a professor. So they are just for me middle qualification. Middle qualification. The highest professors are for me Ciconia in Latin, Storch in German, but in English I don't know. From the middle of Europe, they migrated to the southwest Europe, Gibraltar, and the whole Africa to the South Africa. So they migrated route is over 2,500, and this mode is a lock. It's a locked for them. No possible, no. In their mind, it's they are focused to migrate it thousands kilometers. This is my dream. My life's dream is to explore the limits. What is possible to make here?
Did you come last year and set a record as well?
Yes.
How
2 years ago as well.
So tell us about all of them. First year was how much?
228, like my brother 2 years ago. Then a year ago I made 230, and this year 240. But it's still just a short preview of very beginning what is going to happen here in 10 years. Over 300 points is oh yeah, very easy, very easy. The point of this flying here in Kangra Valley is from Billing, where we are now. It's flying, scratching the front ridge to Dharamsala, further to Dalhousie, turn, same route, come back, and then fly to southeast Mandi and come back. And this it will be make a flight over 300 points, which is 250 kilometers in the counting for a flat distance. Day after the Andre left, I was sitting on the perfectly timing flight, and I was thinking like, wow, it's perfect. I can manage it even more than 250. But the storm came, and I land like story. I will able to write a book about it. How was the landing in the storm? And then I realized it after all of this. The Himalayas let me go there very fast. Came back even faster, but then they said, no man, no. Cross-country potential of this area, it's still unknown. We don't know. We really don't know. I take it like energy here, and they have plans. They have plans with me, I'm sure. Because I can tell you, when I came here 5 years ago first, was the best. Was really the best for me. And for my two friends, was really the best. Like, strong, stupid, with such a great amount of luck. Each year after it is more and more difficult, really. As more we are becoming pilots, as more we are know it, so Himalayas make it more and more and more difficult. You know what was happening? I was very close to the highest peak of Dalada range, which is Hanumantiba. Close. I was flying around the peak, around north, east, west, south. because was no wind and I just wanted to enjoy the time. Till I will be able with my body, I will push it. And hopefully it will always have a happy end.
So one of the epic features of flying in Bir is ability or opportunity that you get to fly with the big birds. You know, Himalayan griffin vulture, Egyptian vultures, Bengal vultures. Flying with the griffin is the best experience because they're big birds.
Himalayan griffin vultures are the biggest vultures of the old world and probably the biggest vultures at all.
We've been flying around with them since the beginning, you know. They often help us find the thermal. I've been saved many a time by vultures. They're soaring birds, so they're using exactly the same principles as us. They're using thermals and ridge lift to climb, and then gliding between climbs looking for food.
They fly quite close to glider. They fly right over the glider, come to the wingtip and look down at you with a very open expression. It's not aggressive, it's not even curious, it's just some kind of contact.
Now what the soaring birds do, they actually get a lift from the canopy of the glider. So they're happy to fly above you, a little bit behind, they get a free lift.
Because when you're moving through the air, you're making the air make a wave above your glider like this, and he's using that wave to lift him a little more.
I think usually it's more of a case of young vultures who are curious and they want to check out what this big thing is, so they come and fly around. Maybe they'll even touch your wing from on top. I think they're good enough. They don't need us to create extra lift for them.
They are the masters of gliding.
Yeah. In terms, they don't glide better than storks, for example, or pelicans or any other gliding birds, but for the purpose of here, definitely they are. Now, about the experience of flying with vultures, you got to be very careful because you fly against the vulture and you see that he's looking down. He's not looking at you.
The vulture, it has to eat.
Vulture comes towards you. He mostly is looking down. Got a long neck, and when he looks down, the same height, you have to really shout at them. You have to shout at them and shake with the wing.
He is more interesting about what is going on the ground, and that's why it's crashes. Crashes also here happen.
So you've heard he's thrown as a result?
Yeah. It's been a few people taking it. But if you join the vultures and go in the same direction, because usually they're all going in one direction. And because most paragliders are arrogant, they'll go in and just take their climb in their favourite direction. And then obviously the vultures are all meeting you. If you fly with them, yeah, it makes it easier.
They do a thing.
And we can climb.
Their claws come out.
Yeah.
You even had once a shit on your glider on top. Big piece of shit on the top of the glider. But it's a sign they feel really relaxed. To fly with you,
Another thing I've realized is that birds are also learning about paragliders. They know that we fly with instruments. Now they know the sound of our instruments. If it's a good day, they will be out before us because they can judge the conditions better. But if it's a bad day, if it's a day when there's not much thermic activity, they sometimes wait for paragliders to go first.
And when they see the paragliders going up, then you get a bunch of vultures come and join you. So, yeah, it's quite funny to see the evolution.
But thermal with like 50, 60 or more vultures climbing up, so we took off, went right into that thermal.
Oh Mann, ich schau da vorne, wie viel Vulture? 100 Vulture.
With 50 to 100 vultures, they started below 2,000 meters, and in one row they went up until 4.2. Mike went in there straight, 4.2. And I prepared, okay, I have to go also. So I went and straight, same thing.
Flying here is rather amazing. It's rather special because it's as committing as you want it to be. Everything's possible. You can have a nice, easy top to bottom. You can soar around in the house thermal and then go and land, or you can blast along this front ridge. You can go for miles and miles and miles, and people doing 100-mile out and returns and so forth. Or if you're in the mood and up to it, you can fly over the back and get up into the big mountains, which is my sort of passion now. That's what gets me excited. So I just spent a few days over the back towards Manali. We camped out up there super high and flying around and trying to get over passes and landing, meeting the shepherds, and it's paradise.
müssen wir rüberqueren, rüber, Richtung Ost. Genau so wie jetzt links rüberqueren.
For years, we just flew the front ridge here, like from Bir towards Mandi, towards Dharamsala. There was at the early times, there was only like Gilles, I think, he was the first one flying over the back. And he came up with stories like, oh, he flew over the back, and as soon as he reached the ridge there, you know, he made bang, and his wing was below him, and he was shit scared, and he turned back, and he said, like, never ever you wanna get back there, you know. Anyway, but that kept like many pilots from going back there, you know, and then sooner or later we say like, let's fly back there, you know, and we found out that's actually the place to go. And yeah, it's cool, and there's much more to explore back there, you know. We've been going Dhindsa Pass towards Barabangal, and this year, first time somebody landed there, John, actually a bunch of people, we wanted to all land there, but we didn't choose a really good day. The cloud base, the cloud base was a bit too low to actually reach, but John somehow, Magic John, he reached
Magic John, popping over.
Yeah. And we just camped on 3,700 meter somewhere beside, before the pass, and we wanted to make it the next day, but the next day was shit. Johnny wanted to fly out, couldn't do it, had to stay there like a day or two, and then trek 2 days to reach the first road in Chamba, and then make a long way back here. So somehow we were also happy that we didn't follow John, you know, because on the other hand, it's nice to explore Barabangal.
Basically, the knowledge base amongst pilots has grown. So,
and the wings have got better.
Yeah,
as well.
the wings have been better.
Yeah. And there's lots of pilots now who have flown for over 10 years, and there's a few who've flown for over 20. So,
and the equipment's lighter, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that means if you do land and have to walk for 2 days, it's a bit more manageable, really.
You just did it.
Yeah, I just done it. Yeah. But I volunteered. I wanted to walk out. Antoine and Mike, they've flown from here to, past. They've almost gone to Kathmandu. Nearly, So that's the longest distance from here so far.
Somehow I realized all these years I've been here, it's expanding and expanding and expanding, and more possibilities are coming. Through Brett Sanders and especially also John Sylvester, they've got a very special flying style. So they go to places where I thought, it's impossible to fly there. You'll be dead very fast. It's totally lee side. You get rotor or whatever.
It's not so difficult. If you're used to even bigger mountains, which we are, they seem quite small to us, really. But they're not. They're quite serious, really. Quite remote.
I'm still exploring. I've been coming here for 15 years, but we've been very, very cautious about pushing the limits of where we go. Until 10 years ago, hardly no one had really ever been over the back of the main ridge.
Well, now people are much more prepared to go over the back, and by that going deeper into, towards Manali or towards Keylong and those sorts of mineral areas.
Let's fucking do it! See down there's little villages everywhere, huh? We're not alone up here. I noticed it's pretty bumpy under 3005. This big valley in front of us is Kubo Valley here. We need to go up the valley. So go around the snowflakes here and then we'll go up the valley.
So how difficult is it going in the behind mountains? How is the journey like on a glider?
The journey is easy, you just have to dare.
I'm going, dude. I want to avoid the snow.
There are so many things possible if you just give the idea a possibility to be there. And as soon as you believe and you see other people going there, you go also. Maybe first a little bit scared, but then you go there and maybe it's bumpy. But more and more you go there, you realize, hey, there are so many things possible which have been which we've not even thought about. It's incredible to watch this flying spots, the range expanding and possibilities.
We're only just discovering ways to get into the other valley systems. Sometimes you have to cross these very high passes, and so still exploring. That's a passion for me, is working out how to get to these different places.
They're humbling, yeah, hugely. Yeah. Especially when you're alone. Up there, getting back to that feeling that, flying through this massive terrain, it's hugely humbling. Because most people only see the Dayudar from 2,000 meters or wherever, where they look up at this thing and it still looks huge. And when you're right beside it, it's absolutely, what looks like a small rock is the Empire State Building almost. It's like
It's also humbling when you land in remote places, because the people there live in very difficult situations, and yet they rise so high above it and have a brilliant life. I don't know, you just arrive there with all your expensive stuff and equipment, and yet you can't really live there, and they can. And I find that amazing. That they're at home there, have their children there, and do everything and survive really well. And they're happy. That's quite humbling.
And so I find the whole culture of the what they call transhuman shepherds, who move around with their flocks through the course of the year, but have a strong affinity with here and also with the Chumba region. I find that all fascinating. And that's also the great thing about doing what they call vol bivouac or fly camping, whatever you want to call it. find a nice landing place up in the hills, particularly at this time of year, there'll normally be some shepherds around. And that's great. They'll give you milk, put in a tea, and generally they'll feed you. They're interested in us just as much as we're interested in them.
My country, India, I'm Hindustani. Yeah. Hindi mein baat karo, main Hindustani.
There's not so much matter what you do. Thermaling, going there is just, you can travel with a paraglider. You can go further, you can see places where nobody has been before.
Woohoo! Woo! Peace, man. Yeah, I wanted to land actually Chalsu Pass, the pass to Chamba.
Yeah.
But it's too low. That one is on 3.5 and it's behind here.
It's a really nice place where those rocks are. You mean like
Yeah.
these rocks and there's this sort of cabin. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.
Ah, very good.
We top land on many places, like sometimes in snow. I remember last week somewhere really high up, we landed in the snow. I had only like small shoes, deep snow.
It's possible in many places. It's just when you're far away, these mountains are so high and so big, and everywhere are stones, big stones, small stones. So if you're a little bit far away, you think, boy, there's nowhere to land, no chance to land. But nearer you get, closer you get, more you realize, hey, there's a place to land. Oh, there also, and there also. Hey, cool. So you just have to be brave enough to get close to the mountain and see and look how the shape of the mountain is, and many places to land. So many possibilities.
Oh yeah, if you go further back still, it gets a little higher each time. And then it's very cold. Yeah, that's the problem.
Being up at 6,000 and 7,000 meters.
Freezing. Unpleasant. Yeah, and exhausting, you're trying to think. You have to be unless you have oxygen, you have to be cautious so that you don't get over revved. Gliding. Okay. For me, gliding is a beautiful sensation. Just the word even sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it's hard to put it into words actually. Gliding, for some people, gliding is just okay. I'm on top of one thermal, I'm going to glide to the next thermal. Simple. They just fly straight. But there's so much more to it. You can find the right line. You can move around and find where the best glide is. So yeah, it's an art. It's a lovely combination of art and science actually, because you need to understand meteorology, you need to understand aerodynamics, but at the same time you need to be kind of fluid and open to things that you can't really quantify and understand. There's clear parallels with sort of the mystical experiences that I research and so forth. You're going up, there's kind of like a mystical ascent up into the sky, the huge oneness of eternity and so forth. That bit of adrenaline, a bit of fear every now and then as well, taking yourself out of your comfort zone. That I do value paragliding for the solitude I get, away from it all.
It's in a deeper sense that when you're up there 2 kilometers above the surface and kilometers from your nearest, you might have radio, but still it's you immediately feel that you are alone in this process. It's you and nature. All the decisions have to be taken by you. The buck stops here. You're responsible for the situation. And other is that because you feel the power of the nature, it's not like you feel king of the world. It's actually you feel very small. And you still have to dig deep and find the courage and the strength to, one, enjoy being there, take all the decisions required. And if you can achieve the sense of comfort in that situation, that means you are comfortable with, being in charge of yourself. and that teaches you a lot about life as such. So for me, that is a sense of gliding.
It doesn't not, no, you don't not want to go back, but when people die, it's not very nice, is it?
You definitely want to understand why.
Yeah.
What you can do to make that less likely to happen to yourself. But it is a dangerous, it is always in your, it's not always, you're aware of it most of the time, that it's that dangerous.
So we see it as a negative, the danger aspect. It is a negative.
एकदम सुरक्षित रहना चाहिए. ये पहली सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात ये कि सुरक्षित रहना. उसके बाद बस मजा लेना, right?
I think the risk makes it more pleasurable, in a strange sort of way, because you tend to arrogantly think it won't happen to you, and we all know that's not true. But yeah, it's like when you're driving. Sometimes you drive very fast, and not in India maybe, but
a little risk is nice, isn't it?
What the matter is where we are, not who we are, because we are such a small compared with this energy of stones putting into together and build the highest mountains in this planet. Paradise, we call it paradise.